Stocks, bonds, derivatives. When I first heard these words, I felt two things. Bored and kind of curious. Like there's a room somewhere. Certain people are allowed in. I was never one of them. I've never bought a single stock in my life. Not one. And for a long time, that felt fine. This world just wasn't for me. Turns out, nobody ever explained it like a normal person. So that's what I'm doing today. Let me start with the most basic question. What even is a security? Forget the textbook definition for a second. A security is just a document that gives you a right. A right to own something, a right to receive money, a right to make a decision. That's it. Everything else, stocks, bonds, options, they're all just different versions of that same idea.
Okay, stocks. Imagine you built something, a business. It's doing well, but you want to grow faster. You need money, but you don't want to borrow it from a bank. So instead, you cut your business into thousands of small pieces, and you sell those pieces to people. Each piece is a stock. When someone buys one, they're not lending you money. They actually own a piece of what you built. And when the business makes profit, sometimes you share it with them. That's called a dividend. Now, there are two types, and the difference is simple. Regular stocks give you a vote. You get a say in how the company runs. No guaranteed income, but you're in the room. Preferred stocks flip that. No vote, but you usually get a fixed dividend. More predictable, less exciting. More control equals more risk. More safety equals less power. Pick your side. Bonds are basically the opposite. You're not buying a piece of a company, you're lending them money. Simple example. A company needs $10 million. They issue 10,000 bonds, $1,000 each. They promise to pay 10% a year for 5 years. You give them money, they give you predictable income on a schedule. The difference from stocks, interest payments are an obligation, not optional. The company has to pay, regardless of how the business is doing. Government bonds take that even further. Governments have stronger tools, taxation, borrowing power, which is why they're generally seen as the safest option. One thing I found interesting, years ago, paper bonds had physical coupons attached. When it was time to collect your interest, you literally tore off a coupon and handed it in. That's actually where the word coupon in finance comes from. Still used today, even though everything is digital now. There's one more instrument that most people have never heard of, but it's actually one of the oldest financial tools in history. A company delivers goods. The buyer doesn't have cash right now, so they write a formal document. I will pay you this exact amount on this exact date. That's called a bill of exchange. Sounds old-fashioned, but it's basically the foundation of how business credit works. Pay later with a written promise. Centuries old, still used today.
Okay, derivatives. Futures, forwards, options. This is the part that scared me most when I first started looking into this. Turns out, it's simpler than it sounds. Here's a real example. Imagine a construction company. They just signed a contract to build a residential complex. Big project. Starts in 6 months. But here's the problem. The price of lumber right now is manageable. They can make a profit. But in 6 months, nobody knows. Lumber prices are volatile, and builders are often completely at the mercy of those swings. If prices spike before they break ground, their entire margin disappears. So what do? They make a deal today. They agree to buy lumber at today's price, but for delivery in 6 months. That agreement is called a forward contract. A futures contract is the same thing, just done officially on an exchange. Standardized rules. Both sides are legally obligated to follow through. And here's the key part. It doesn't matter what lumber costs in 6 months. They already locked in the price. The uncertainty is gone. Builders who don't do this,
They're essentially gambling on the price of materials. Every project becomes a bet. Futures are how they stop gambling. Options are where it gets interesting. An option gives you the right, but not the obligation, to buy or sell something at a fixed price in the future. Call option, right to buy. Put option, right to sell. The key word is right, not obligation. Think of it like putting a deposit on an apartment. You lock in the price today, but if something changes, you find a better place, the neighborhood goes downhill, you can walk away. You just lose the deposit. In options trading, that deposit is called a premium, the price you pay for having the choice.
So why does any of this matter?
Because all of these instruments exist for one reason: to give people control over uncertainty. The investor doesn't want to bet everything on one company. The builder doesn't want to gamble his project on lumber prices. The business doesn't want to depend on whether the bank says yes. These are tools. That's all they are. And here's what I wish someone had told me earlier. You don't need to master all of this to start making better decisions with your money. You just need to understand the basic idea behind each one. Because the people who know this, even at a basic level, they make different decisions, more informed, less afraid. I was afraid of these words for a long time. Honestly, I didn't need to be, and neither do you.
If something clicked today, hit like and drop a comment. What financial topic always confused you? I'll cover it next. See you then.